Welcome to Speaking Holistically, the podcast that explores the power of alternative medicine, natural healing, and homeopathic solutions to help you achieve true wellness. Each week, Dr. Jen and Amy G dive into the world of holistic health, discussing researched, time-tested remedies with expert insights from Dr. Jen, as well as real-life stories from patients to empower you to take charge of your health. So if you're ready to embrace a more natural path to wellness, let's start speaking holistically, because true healing begins from within. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Speaking Holistically. I'm your co-host, Amy G. I'm here with my amazing co-host, Dr. Jen, and we have a special guest today, Heather Hickman, who is a licensed massage therapist and fasciologist who has a business within Lakeway Wellness. And Heather, first of all, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to get to talk to you because I know you're going to talk to us about fascia blasting, and I don't know very much about it. And I didn't get any information from Dr. Jen. She told me this much, and I was like, okay, everything else we're going to save for the podcast.
Perfect.
So my first question though is, how did you and Dr. Jen meet? Like, how did your paths cross?
Hi, Amy. Thank you for having me on. I have known Dr. Jen for 18 years. My third child was born, and during delivery, there was an issue, and our lactation consultant sent me over to her to have her fix the issues. And I walked in. She said, his jaw's out. We need to adjust him. This baby was 8 weeks old and a preemie. And I said, you're crazy. So she walked in the other room, pulled out her child, who was just a few months older than mine, and said, mom to mom, this is what you need. So she adjusted him. He latched on, and all three of us sat there and cried. So We've been fast friends ever since. My kids think she's their aunt, so they love her. So she's just family.
How can you not love her?
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's people out there.
Always.
Don't comment in the, no, I'm just kidding.
Always.
Yeah, so I've taken care of their family for about 18 years, and it's been amazing. So I took care of them when I had my practice in California, and they lived in California, and then I relocated 10 years ago to Tennessee, and Heather, ended up here, which is so crazy. So she ended up here with her family, and she's been a homeschooling mom forever of her 4 kids. And then, I don't know, her world shifted a little bit and some changes came up, and, I said, I think you'd be a really great massage therapist. And so she went to massage school and excelled. I mean, she's definitely at the top ranks of massage therapists and the understanding of how the muscles work and the names of them and her technique. And what's really great is that she is very therapeutic, but she has these incredibly maternal hands. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just so crazy. It's like if your mom gives you a hug, there's just something different about your mom hug than a hug from somebody else,
Yeah.
So I think it's just because she just puts so much love into what she does that you can feel it, So she has become an incredible massage therapist, and I offered her space inside the office, and she's been there for a year and a half, I guess now, and has a very, very busy practice. And it keeps morphing with the more she learns, because as a homeschool mom, you've got this urge to learn and to teach and to understand more. And so she has continued to carry that into her professional practice as well. So she's constantly getting more certifications and information and integrating everything together, which is super fun. She's definitely not one-dimensional. So it's great. So as somebody who gets to work with her, as well as one of her clients, I'm very appreciative of her desire to continue to learn.
Yeah, because obviously the patients benefit from that tenfold.
Yep.
Jen, thank you very much. That's very sweet the way you said it, all of that, much more eloquently than I could. But you're right. It's that homeschool thing in me that I just know there's more. There's more. And so when I'm doing regular massage, and I don't do just regular massage. I mean, I like to pull in whatever we need to take care of the situation, whether it's a hot stone or a cupping or whatever. Learning fascia blasting, which, Dr. Jen walked into the office one day and hands me this giant weird tool and says, here, can you use this? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's try. But from then on, I was smitten. I mean, this is such a key to so many things. Pain, the elimination of pain and long-term pain that we live with, the kind that we don't realize isn't normal anymore, or we just think it's because we're getting older. You know, mamas who get those C-sections and different things with the scars, and you see them as they're older and they're walking just a little tilted in, just a little crunched in. And it's, oh, when I laugh or sneeze, I get this really sharp pain, but that's normal. And it's, no, that's not normal, you know? And amazing how after one session, often they can feel a difference, just a little straighter, a little taller. It's amazing what it'll take care of.
Well,
It's
and
just a
even
whole new world for me.
I just know that when I see her, I'll go in for a 2 hour session, and I don't know how she puts that much energy into it, because I've had my husband try to use that fascia tool on me and he's huffing and puffing in 5 minutes. And it's like he wants to help me,
Yeah.
but it's not quite there. So, and I'm like, no, you're doing it too deep, or you're doing it too slow, or, as a wife, that's what we do, right? So it's just easier to go see Heather. And so I do a 2 hour session with her and I leave there and I literally don't even know that I have anything. Like my head is not on my neck. Like there's no tension anywhere. You'd have to ask me like where are you feeling anything? It would be like I feel nothing. It's the most amazing thing. So, and I also find that bending over and tying my shoes is easier. My muscles are not as tight. Like there's everything loosens up to a point where there's that flexibility that I had 10, 20, 30 years ago. So for me, it's completely therapeutic, and it does help the appearance of my skin. So that's not a bad thing to add to it. So Heather, will you tell us a little bit more about what fascia is for the listeners that don't really know what fascia is as opposed to fascia? Because I have people coming in and I was like, well, fascia is on your house and fascia is in your body. So can you tell us tell us a little bit more about that?
And that's kind of funny because your fascia is on the outside of your house. Fascia is all inside your body. We have fascia throughout our entire body. There's several different forms, but the type that we're typically talking about with the fascia blasters is more under the surface. It goes through everything, through your muscles, through when you have a piece of raw chicken and you pull that thing off and you have that nasty little slimy white piece, that's fascia. And that's the kind that makes everything slide back and forth the way it's supposed to. Smooth, not tight, not stuck to the skin, not too tight in there. The other type is you're eating steak, and I'm sorry, this is gross, but you're eating steak and you pop it and it's got those little white things that pop out. That's also there, showing you it goes through your muscles, right? In every little thing.
Amy hasn't eaten meat in 8 years. She looked like she was about to vomit. I was like,
I should have warned you. Fascia, the kind that we're taking care of, looks like cotton candy. It's like a big spider web. It's all in there. We have to have it. It holds our organs in place. It holds everything where it's supposed to be. But our body's made to heal itself. We just live in kind of an imperfect world at this point, and we don't take care of our bodies the way we should. So just like a callus, where it's taking care of a blister to protect you, but after a while, a callus gets ugly and it's uncomfortable. Fascia does the same thing. If I hurt myself and I say, oh, I've got this knot right here, muscles don't knot. Muscles contract, muscles can cramp, but they don't make a knot. It's the fascia that's been put there to take care of it, but it just keeps growing because that's what it does. It doesn't stop.
And binding things up in that area. So it creates kind of that knot feeling.
Mm-hmm. And so you can feel that crunchy little thing. So that's what's on there. And it actually is almost like a knot of hair. So I know that people have mentioned using rollers and all of these wonderful things, but some of that's just squashing it down. That'll help relax those muscles somewhat, but it's not detangling that fascia. Like I mentioned before, the C-section, any kind of scar, any kind of injury, you work out a lot, you're an athlete, you're overworking and going, your body will just keep putting fascia there to take care of your body. But even just toxins in the air, what we put in our body, even emotional toxin can cause excess buildup of fascia where it shouldn't be. It can be painful and it can be restrictive. So that's the kind of fascia we're talking about. We want to detangle it. We want to pull it apart so that everything stretches back out the way it did when we were in our teens and 20s. That's how it should feel, right? Me too. So that's what we're doing. We're detangling using tools. There's a lot of talk of fascia right now and how to take care of it. different ways to use it. Like I said, rollers, the balls, release, all these different things. The woman, Ashley Black, is the one that I use, that I've researched, and she has done so much research because of her own issues. That's the best way to invent something, is when you need to take care of it. It hurts.
Yeah.
I want to feel better. So she created these tools for herself originally, ended up going into her chiropractor, who happened to be working with Major League Baseball players, football players, NFL players. And she showed him what she was doing to take care of herself. And he goes, hey, I have this client. Could you help me? Next thing you know, she's got a business and she's creating tools because they work. They work. Some of the fascia can be released immediately, but other parts, it took a while for it to get there. So frequency and consistency is your key to all of it, just like anything else, right?
Yeah.
Health of any kind.
I can't work out once a month and be in perfect shape. What are you talking about?
Exactly. So that's why where you come to see me once or twice a week, hopefully, because that's the best way to get it in there, you're also doing it at home. You have to be taking care of yourself at home. It's like brushing your teeth. You know, you can't go to the dentist once or twice a year and expect them to be fine. You've got to brush in between. And I say brush because it's funny, because these things do kind of look like brushes.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
So this is one
That's
of
my
tools.
favorite. That's the Pro Blaster. That is my favorite. And I have 2 of them, and I use them at the same time because I am nothing if I am not efficient.
That you are. We have several different kinds of tools, and I don't have all of them with me. I just have a few, but we always start out with these small claws. If you can see, these claws are almost look like fingers, right?
Yeah.
So if your fascia looks like cotton candy or a knot of hair, if you think of the hair analogy, if I roll over hair, it's not going to untangle, right? If I push on it, if I use one of the massage guns that beat on it, that's not untangling that hair.
Yeah.
It may calm down that muscle that's being attached to it, that's being tight and panicked, but it will go back because the tight feeling of the fascia is still there. You need to untangle that hair. You need to untangle that fascia.
That makes sense.
So we're breaking through those, and all you're doing literally is just brushing or scraping. There's different words people have used.
And it's very superficial, right? With an emollient.
Absolutely. We're always using any kind of medium that's very slick. So I always encourage my clients at home to do it in the shower or the sauna. Shower is superb because you don't have to do a lot of cleanup. You can use bath gel. You can use hair conditioner. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's in the nice hot shower will warm everything up. The sauna, it's nice and warm. We know things move easier in the warm. And then you do the small claws are very superficial, like you said. We're doing just under the skin. Lymphatic fluid is right under the skin, right underneath. And if the fascia is in there and too tight, that impedes that fluid from going and being able to drain and getting rid of those toxins
that makes sense.
Which can cause, swelling of your ankles, swelling in different parts of your body. We don't want that. We need those toxins out.
Yeah.
That helps not only with things like cellulite, but weight loss and just feeling well, just feeling good. So doing the small claws at first, we're warming things up and we're helping to break up that surfacey fascia from that lymphatic area. You're also you're brushing and pushing that lymphatic fluid out. It isn't hard. It isn't pushing terribly.
It's actually really comfortable and almost like you could, I literally start to fall asleep because it is so comfortable. No, there's something so just relaxing about what it's doing to my nervous system. It's insane. And we're talking and all of a sudden I'm stopped talking because I'm about to fall asleep, And so she does that and then she'll go with some deeper tools, which I'm sure she'll show you. And even then, yeah, I was a little afraid of that nugget. But I will tell you that I'm very ticklish on my feet. Like if I go get a pedicure, I'm like, oh my gosh, please stop touching me. Like I can't take it. I'm going to crawl out of the chair, that sort of a thing. Yeah. But she will use that nugget and dig it into my foot. But it's slow and it's gentle, but it's effective. And my foot pain, like all the fascia releases. So all these people have plantar fasciitis, it completely can take care of that. So anyway, go ahead, Heather. I'm sorry. I was just like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. So,
well, and that's a really good point. When you first come in, most people are panicked. I mean, if you look at some of my tools, they can look scary. This is the one she's talking about with all the little, we call them the nuggets or these on the end. my favorite little one, right? These look scary.
They do. They do look scary.
Right? But they're not. I mean, the way we use them, I'm not killing you. Even when we go back to these, you know, bigger ones, because this is going to go down deeper to the next levels and release. Sometimes it can be very uncomfortable when we hit places where we're breaking through a layer that fascia is holding those nerves so tight. We've got to break that down a little bit.
Yeah.
You never want to do to the point where you are dying, you're screaming. That doesn't make any sense. You know, we use common sense, right?
Yeah.
You can bruise with it. Most of the bruises, I will say, typically, I don't know about you, Jen, but I have found that they typically don't hurt because they're a different type of bruise. They're not from contusion. You haven't hit yourself. You're actually opening up an area that hasn't had proper blood flow for a significant amount of time. So that blood flows into there quickly. And the next thing you know, you've got a little spot there.
So it's more like discoloration versus a true bruise.
Absolutely. Now, there are times where you're working in thinner skin. If you really do have to dig out something, that can be more uncomfortable. Like I said, you can bruise, but you typically just move past that. You don't have to go over the bruise. You're going to let that go for a couple of days, go around it. We want it to flush out. We want to get rid of it because, it's holding toxins in there. We want it to move. Yeah, the feet, that's kind of a funny one. She said digging in there. I do call it, I say, I'm going to dig in there. Using the end of this one, honestly, all I'm doing is pushing until I have resistance, and then you just wiggle. Sometimes you barely feel it. Sometimes you're like, oh, that's a good one. You know, it kind of burns, it tingles. But if you had a sheet and I have the other side and we pull it tight, I can't poke a hole down the middle of that sheet with my finger.
Yeah.
If I stick a pin through it, now it'll rip nicely. Fascia is in sheets. It's through our whole body, starting on the bottom of our feet all the way up to the top of our head. And so if it's tight enough, there's times where it's hard to break through with just the brushing.
Yeah.
So we do need that little nugget to poke a little spots in there to help break it up a little easier. So it's not an overly painful thing. There are times where we have sessions where it's more, but I have noticed that by the second or third session, especially, most people, it's like their nervous system recognizes what we're doing, and they do. I've had them falling asleep. I'm like, how are you falling asleep? The light's on. We're going to town. I'm trying to warm up this area. They're snoring. They're like, I'm sorry, I'm checking out. I'm like, okay, you're good.
Wow.
So I think you just get to the point where you get it, and using the oils on there while you're doing it makes it very slick, because you never want to do it on dry skin. I will say my favorite is doing my face. Now, doing fascia blasting helps your body to create collagen. Collagen is what our body lets go of as we get older, which is why, you know, we get thinner skin, why our lips get smaller, while all that stuff goes down. There's a whole beauty side, or dare I say vanity side, to the fascia blasting. Her book, Ashley Black's book, is actually called The Cellulite Myth, talking about how cellulite is, you know, it's ugly. We don't like it. But cellulite is actually from fascia. It is fascia. You go to a doctor and say, I have cellulite. How do I get rid of it? Diet and exercise. Diet and exercise. That's it. That's the key. Well, that doesn't really make sense when you're looking at someone who's a runner or, you know, an athlete. They're thin as a bone and they've got cellulite down the side of their hips. You know, that doesn't make sense. We've all got underneath layers. You know, there is a fat layer. There's all the different layers in there. But if that fascia is tight, again, sorry, I'm going to talk about meat again, Amy. I apologize. But if you
put, Amy, cover your ears.
When you put sausage in a casing, it's nice and smooth. If I put sausage in a fishnet stocking, it's going to be bumpy and ripply. You're going to see all those dimples, and that's what cellulite is that fascia is too tight, and it's squashing all that stuff down. Wow. So if I can pull those apart, now all of a sudden you have a nice smooth casing again, and you look nice, right? And we all have little bits of it. It's just a matter of getting rid of it. But the other part of the beauty is, you know, we lose so much collagen, so much elasticity in our face quicker because it's thinner. So if I can do the fascia blasting on my face, and again, it's very gentle, but it feels amazing. If I can use one of my tools and work on that jaw that most of us clench and grind our teeth and all that,
Yeah.
Oh, it is heavenly. It is heavenly to feel it just release.
Wow.
Using this, now that's her favorite tool. This is one of my favorites. This is the facial blaster, but it's, deceiving calling it a facial. Yes, I can use it for my face, but I use it on my neck. I use it on my hands. I use it on my forearms. I use it on my feet. I mean, it's for anything you want to get in nooks and crannies. It's a great tool to have. You can use it on your whole body. I can use it on my thighs and everything. It's got a few less teeth, so it's going to take a little longer to get to that area. But the face is one of my favorite things to do. If somebody has enough time with me, or if they come in and book just a facial fascia blasting and head, because it helps with migraine headaches.
Which
It's
is totally worth the price of admission for just the
Wow.
head, foot, face, and neck. Yeah.
absolutely. I've had people come in just for an hour session for I can feel a migraine coming on. We've got to get ahead of it. And we can, working on those shoulders, get your chest across the back a little bit. But that head and face is phenomenal. I didn't bring a little baggie to put on here, but you can do your whole head, and it's like heaven just to rub on that head. You're like, so much tension just releases because fascia is everywhere. It literally is everywhere. So being able to do those, and I've got all kinds of fancy, fun little tools for your face. This is a one claw can get in where you need to, really getting in and digging in, releasing so much of that tension. The jowls.
I was just thinking that. That's what I do in the shower with the Pro Blaster. And I don't go on my cheekbone because I want my cheekbone to remain plump, right? So I'm not going to smash that down. So I go right underneath it and I do this whole area. And then I do across the neck because our neck gets so tight all the time, and into the chest and into the upper arms and stuff. So yeah,
Yep.
those jowls, I don't think that I'm overly vain. I don't ever plan on doing any kind of, fillers, plastic surgery, anything like that. I never have. I don't dye my hair. I do everything very, very natural, but I still don't want to look 900 years old when I'm 70. So if I can prevent it, I will. But what she said, the relief, because I talk all day long with my patients. And if I can get in there on that jaw, it's like, it's eye rolling.
It is. Absolutely. And, not only vanity, but if that blood's in your face, it's healing. It's making you healthier. You're getting oxygen, you're getting blood in those areas. We don't want any of this to be sagging and hanging, not just for vanity reason, but we want it to work,
Yeah.
Wait, what do we look like?
Sorry, worked with kids for way too many years, right? But yeah, like she said, anything that is puffy, we want to keep puffy, or plump is the word. We don't go over with the fascia blaster. So that includes the apples of our cheeks. We want those nice and plump because that shows the youth in our body. We don't go over our breasts, and we don't go over the nice round plump part of our booties either. Now the only caveat to that is, if you've got a sciatica or something like that, we will go over and deal with those type of things, but we don't go over anything we don't want flattened. But with that said, we definitely want that gobbler flattened. We don't want any jowls. And it's great to start it before you have those issues to help prevent those issues, right? I can say I have my little testimony. My little gobbler was starting, and I've been doing it about
Calling it a gobbler really makes me laugh.
almost gone. So, it was starting to sag. I was panicked. I'm like, no. So I've been doing it. I have a little basket, and again, you want to do lots of medium, lots of oil. Ashley Black has her own oil. It's not my favorite, but it is a roll-on.
Blasphemy.
I know, but it is convenient. I throw this and my little one that I just had in my purse. If I know I have to go wait on my kids somewhere, or I'm waiting somewhere, I'll throw these in my purse, because if I'm sitting in the car, you better know I'm going after my forearms and I'm going after my chest. Why not?
My gobbler.
My gobbler. I won't do that in public. I'm embarrassed to do that in public, but
I wouldn't. I'm like, you're not going to see me again. If you do, I do it anyway. So who cares?
There you go. You might learn something, right? So I went on Amazon and bought just a roll-on. It was less than $5. I filled it up with coconut oil so I can do my face. And I just have a basket right next to my, when I'm doing my makeup, and I do my face real quick, takes maybe 5 minutes, wash it all off, put my regular moisturizer on, put my makeup on, and go. And just from doing that for it was almost daily. I'd say I probably missed maybe 2 days a week in the last 3 weeks. And it has definitely gone down. There's a significant difference in my profile and in my waddle. It's not gobbling anymore. So. But that also helps with hands. My job and Dr. Jen's job, we are pushing and using our hands constantly. Mm. Being able to put a little oil on my hands and rub this, or in the shower, and just, my daughter says it makes little hugs on each finger. Because it's made to go on each, little place to hold on to. So it's great for that. When your hands and feet are mostly fascia and ligaments with a little bit of fat in there, you think about it, they're pulleys, right? We want to break that down so they work better. Arthritis and all that stuff is huge. Tendonitis. Plantar fasciitis is one of the things that really intrigued me with starting doing it. You can almost completely eliminate it with this if you're really consistent and really take care of it and go after it and have somebody who knows how to do that. The relief is shocking.
Well, even after one visit, like when you work on my feet, because I'm on my feet so much, and I'm on cement, and I generally wear pretty decent shoes. Sometimes I'll show up at the office in flip-flops because I do.
Barefoot,
But yeah, and Heather she's barefoot a lot as well. But the thing is, I'm on my feet so much, and I'll go in there and I get on the table and I'm just like, oh, I can't wait for this. And I get off the table, and my feet are very, very sensitive. So for her to push in those nuggets and not tickle me with the other stuff, or using that, I thought at first, oh, I'm never going to be able to handle that ever, ever, ever. And it's literally the craziest feeling. It actually feels so good. And I get off the table and I stand up, and my feet just feel like they can spread out, move. They're not just being held so crampy. And so that's the one thing too, I noticed as people age, we tend to walk and we hobble a little bit more. And that's from the feet not moving and flexing like it should, or like they should. So yeah, it can make a huge, huge difference. But I definitely see a difference, and my patients are noticing difference. And I'll tell you what else, when they go in and see Heather, before they come in and see me, it makes all the difference in the world. I adjust them, and it's easier on my body because their body isn't pushing back, holding all that tension. But they're like, holy cow, this is so much more comfortable after having all of that released. And then the adjustments hold longer and better because things aren't just torquing themselves out of place again because she's releasing that fascia. So
yeah. And that's a regular massage as well. That really does help.
It does, yeah. But the fascia blasting,
you don't have somebody who does fascia blasting and you're nervous about starting, at least start with a massage. It will make a huge difference. I didn't realize how big of a deal it was, but the fascia blasting is enormous. There is a place to find somebody closer to you that does it if you're not in the general area where I'm at. I know there's nobody within 135 miles of me on that registry, so it's kind of hard to find them in certain areas. But if you can find somebody and have them do it as well, having me do that once a week for a while, even twice a week for a while, before you can get into a system. Again, frequency and consistency is what I tell my clients every day. So getting in there, getting it started, and the more frequent and the more consistent you are, the quicker you're going to see those results. No different, again, than brushing your teeth. If I only brush my teeth once a day, it's not going to be as good as if I do it twice a day. If I only do it once a week, it's going to be even worse.
Yeah. So Heather, where do we find the registry for where people are certified fasciologists?
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
Oh, so good question, Amy.
Ashley Black has a website. She also has, it's fasciablaster.com. She also has an app. And I'm so glad you said that, because the app is one of my favorite things. The tools themselves are not cheap tools. They hold up, and they have 1,000-day warranty. That's 2.5, almost 3 years. That's a long time. That means if I break one of these little things off, I email them, I take a picture of it, they send me a new one, no questions asked. That's it. They want a picture, they want to make sure that you're not lying. That's it.
So I have to tell you real quick, I actually just did that. You
No.
can see it. Yeah. See, it's all broken off right here. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually just submitted that to them and just did that a couple of days ago. So I'm waiting to hear back. So yeah, I like this with the silicone grip because
Yes.
I use it in the shower. I don't have time to do it anywhere else. And so
Mhm.
I use my Castile soap. And once I'm washing everything, I just get in there and do whatever I need to do. So yeah, but you're 100% right. And it's worth it. And the thing is if you buy it on Amazon, which I always tell people, you have no recourse. If you
And it's
buy it
only
directly,
about $10 difference.
and
It's
it, so
Oh,
if you, yeah, but if you buy it on their website, you have almost a 3-year
yeah. So
recourse to go back. Yeah.
getting
yeah.
on that the app. So like I said, you're using, it's costly.
They're not
They're
cheap, but
not
they are
overly
worth every
expensive, but
penny.
they're not, yeah, exactly. Um, but with that warranty and all of that, but all of her other things are free. She has, I mean, a million videos, not only of the scientific stuff behind her showing what the fascia looks like under a ultrasound, what it looks like after 90 days of doing it with the ultrasound, and how it's even regenerated bone in certain areas from doing
Wow.
blasting. It's phenomenal. But having all those videos, she also shows you how to do them. So you can do it at home if there's nobody near you. You can do it at home, and it's all on there, easy to do step by step. Her app puts everything together, concise and easy to look at. And it's free. All of those videos are free. All of the help is free. They even have where you can email a coach and they'll help you put up a situation, put it down what you need to do to take care of yourself.
Like a routine for you. Mhm.
Absolutely. On that app has a place to find a fasciologist near you, and you put in your zip code and it shows you all the people near you. Obviously, if you're in a more metropolitan area, you're in Orange County or LA or New York, you're going to have more people around you. Out here where I am, it's a little
Just
smart.
you.
It's
You.
You're you're very busy because there's not anybody around.
Well, and she's
Absolutely.
excellent. She was busy before she started doing all the fascia blasting, but the fascia blasting, I mean, I kind of look at it like my kids when they played piano, when I forced them to take piano lessons, right? So like because they were doing lessons once a week, they were like, "Oh, I've got my lesson coming up. I have to practice a little bit so I have some improvement, right?" But if they were like, "Oh, I'll practice later, I'll practice later, I'll practice later," right? It's the same thing with the fascia blasting. Like I find that if I have regular appointments, I'm more apt to doing it in between the appointments because I want to keep those changes going, as opposed to like, oh, I'll get to it later, I'll do it. So having somebody work on you is not only amazing, but it keeps me consistent. It keeps me honest with myself to make sure that I'm doing it in between those visits.
There's also the benefit of coming to me versus yourself, because I have to work on myself. I have nobody to work on me, right? There's nobody around. But the difference is I can get to places that you can't on your body. So for me, one of my problem areas is my scapulas. Those shoulder blades get tight on me. I have a hard time with that. For you, I can come in and get around your scapulas and help open all that up. I also get at different angles. So even though you're able to get to your thighs, you're able to get to your calves and your feet, I'm able to get in there at a different angle, a different strength, a different pressure, with a little different skill as well, and help you move forward faster and better and more consistently. So again, some of that you're going to feel right away. My calves, I feel them. If I don't do them when I get in the shower at night, the next day I feel it. It's tight. But other things, it took years for it to get there. It's going to take a while to reduce that cellulite. It's going to take a little bit to reduce that tightness in certain areas. If you've got a really bad injury from high school, it's going to take a little while to get through there. But
Sure.
you will feel some difference pretty quickly.
So, is there a link where people could go to get like all the tools that you've been showing us that we could put in the show notes for people?
Absolutely. We'll put that on the link attached to this.
Okay.
As far as the tools, the really great thing is you can buy them individually, but she has put together kits. Ashley Black has put together kits. If you don't have somebody you're going to and they're recommending which tools to get, it's kind of easier to go through and look at those kits. They're also phenomenal prices compared to buying them individually. It is a much better price, much better deal. She's throwing in her oil. She's throwing in cryo packs, which those ice packs, hers are phenomenal. I love them. in her book. I always recommend reading her book. You're going to see the science and how it works and why it works. I can tell you a lot of people give me the poo-poo about it. It's like, yeah, it's a gimmick. It's a toy, whatever. I've got a roller at home. I've got my, massage gun. I'm good. It's like,
You
you
know,
don't even know.
I really did think it was a gimmick at the beginning, and I will tell you, years ago, I would say 8 years ago, probably. I have a friend of mine who's also a chiropractor, and she lived in Nashville at the time, and we were flying out, and I was kind of hobbling around, I guess, and she's like, "What is going on with you?" And I'm very active, and I said, "Man, my hip flexors are so tight." And she's like, "Take off your pants." I was like, "Oh, alrighty then." So she grabbed out her fascia blaster and some oil and she started working on my hip flexors. And she's like, "Just tell me when you can't take it anymore." And I was like, "Okay." So about 20 minutes in, I was like, "Okay, it's burning to the point that I can't manage this anymore." So she did the other side as well. And she goes, "Do you feel any different?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I think so." It wasn't huge difference, but it was, I mean, I could tell that there was a difference. But what happened was the next morning, I got up to get out of bed at 4 a.m. to get everybody to the airport. And I stood up, totally upright, walked right to the bathroom without any hobbling. And I was like, "Oh, what was that?" And I've been hooked ever since. She and I also weightlifted when we were in chiropractic school and in pre-chiropractic and undergrad. And she was always very buff and thick. I would call her thick. She was never fat. But I look back on the pictures and I can see that she was puffy. Like, I didn't notice it at the time, but she has fascia blasted for years now. Every day for 30 minutes, she does it. And she probably went from a size 10, I would say 10 or 12, maybe. And she's probably a size 2. And she's in her 50s.
Wow.
She's in better shape and she's had 2 C-sections. So what she did is she's done it every day. The inflammation went down. She was able to release all of the toxins. Like, she is healthier and looks phenomenal. I mean, we go places and guys' heads just flip around and turn. And she said, "You know what? I'm going to take it. I worked really, really hard at this." And she said, "I went through the first half of my life with nobody ever looking at me. And so I'm going to take that now. And thank you very much." And she's in a great, stable relationship, but she's like, "I'll take it." But the other thing that I thought was interesting is she had 2 C-sections and she ended up fascia blasting over those C-section scars. And there's one picture she sent me in a bikini, and you can see there's bumps all around the C-section scars. And not on the scar themselves, but the tissue around it. And I
Oh.
said, "Hey, are you having a reaction to something?" And she's like, "No, that's from the fascia blasting. It's releasing the glue or the dissolvable stitches or whatever else they put in there. It's
Mhm.
all starting, I think, to come out of the skin because your skin is your largest eliminatory organ." So she's like, that scar tissue started to pucker and now it's completely flat. So it is, I mean, just the proof is in the pudding. I couldn't believe her. I hadn't seen her in, I don't know, a couple of years when she started doing the fascia blasting. And she'd been traveling a lot and out of the country. And so when she came back into the area, she got out of the car and my mouth just dropped open because literally she was like a size 10, 12, and now she's like a size 0, 2, like that sort of a thing. And solid muscle. She's solid muscle. So it was pretty impressive. So it definitely changed her physique. And for anybody who says, "Oh, well, I'm too old or I'm this or I'm that," there's plenty of information out there where you don't have to live in the body that you're in if you make different choices. But sometimes just the basic run of the mill like diet and exercise, it's not just that for every person. Like we've
Yeah.
talked about in the podcast in the past, like Amy hasn't eaten meat in 8 years. No carb Barb, who we interviewed, she had her first carniversary, so she's only eaten meat for the last year. And something works for every person. It's just not the same thing. So with the fascia blasting, that obviously will help with decreasing inflammation, increasing mobility, and the aspect of being able to stretch and move appropriately. So it makes a huge difference on all fronts for sure.
Yeah. I have a question. So my husband's a hairy Greek. He's an Adonis. He's a real handsome man. He is a hairy Greek, though. He'll tell you that too. He's hairy as all get out. Does this pull on hair when you're using these tools?
That's a really good question. I can tell you as a massage therapist, we see people come in like your husband and go, "Oh, you poor guy, this is going to hurt my hands." I mean, it's rough. But the
Yeah.
fascia blasters, definitely the smaller ones, especially, depending on how long that hair is, I would try it first and
Hmm.
make sure it doesn't get in there, I cause a problem because I have worked on people who are hairier on their chest and their
There's more
back.
grass on the playground. That's what I
And
like.
there you go. But if it is an issue, there are a couple of things you can do. I mean, one is putting them in a Ziploc baggie, because that's what we do for our head.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to show a little trick I don't think Jen knows yet. When we work on our head, and it would work on the body as well, I have learned if you take a little hair tie and you make a little weird design, all of a sudden it doesn't catch the hair anymore.
Wow.
So there you go.
I would have never guessed that. Oh, look at that.
Isn't that clever? And now I can do my head.
That thing that we did in grade school.
Yeah, it won't pull my hair anymore. It won't pull it out. And I've got really thick hair, and I thought I could get away with doing my neck without doing it. It was so tangled in my hair. My daughter's laughing her butt off, going, I'm just going to cut it. I'm like, no, you're not. So I would say doing a little trick like this or putting it in a baggie, if you find that it tends to get in there. Although I have not found anybody with body hair that it has tangled in it enough, but I know that some have a little more than others. So there are some tricks if it does cause an issue, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool. I love that you just showed us that. And
No,
I have a bazillion hair ties, so that's not a problem.
Perfect, right? I know. It's pretty clever.
Yeah.
Something showed me.
What about, so my last question for you is, when people, so let's say like in your situation, right, you have a 135-mile radius where nobody's around. So if somebody can't get to a fascia blaster or a massage therapist to get the fascia blasting done, do you feel like they do push hard enough to make it effective if they have to do it on themselves?
Yeah, so Ashley Black actually originally created the original fascia blaster to be done at home. In fact, I'm embarrassed to say I'm so old that I ordered my first one via the television with my landline to order. So yeah, they are absolutely, you're able to do them at home. It might take you a little longer. You won't be able, there are some areas I can't get my scapulas effectively. I can do it, but not as well as if somebody got in there and dug in there.
Sure.
But it's not like giving yourself a massage. I can do it. It's absolutely able to do it. I can get those areas. And all of Ashley Black's videos are showing you how to do it for yourself.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm doing my tummy, my abdomen, which is a big area, and most people skip it, believe it or not. But she shows you, she has you, you're going to lay down, you're going to do it this way, you're going to do this, you're going to make sure you're getting this. You are doing it yourself. And like I said, it's going to take a little longer. And there may be areas you have trouble with, especially if you're tight, if you can't reach around or get some other areas. She has several new tools. Like this one, I really can get to my low back a little bit because I can reach back there a little bit, but I can't get my scapulas. Again, she has a new tool. I didn't bring it down with me. It's a band. It's long and it's got handles with 36 little tiny claws.
Wow.
These little claws. And you can rub it on you like you do your bath towel.
Oh.
It's flexible. It's flexible. And I didn't think that it looked like it would be that great. And Heather was like, oh my gosh. So you're able to get a large surface area. And like she said, it's like a bath towel. So it's flexible.
Yeah, my issue with my scapula is my ribs will pop out. I got stepped on by a horse when I was a kid, trampled all over. I've had issues with those ribs ever since. And getting to those areas with these tools was hard. Getting that band, I was like, yeah, I can get it. And I can keep them from, causing issues. So yeah, I do think you can do it at home. But again, it's a different kind of a thing, right? It's just going to take you a little longer. It's a little more awkward. But watching her videos, getting that app, which is called the Fascia App, just so you know, and it's free, has all of those videos categorized and laid out for you, easy peasy.
And we'll put that app info down in the notes as well so that we can find the right app.
Yes.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, no, we'll put that in the show notes for people. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
This is honestly, what a fascinating interview. I am so glad you came on today. I learned so much. These tools look so cool. Some of them I'm like, oh my God, medieval. But to hear you talk about, you're like, when you explain what you do with them, then I'm like, oh, it's not nearly as intimidating as I thought. That's fine. Like if it's just like pressing till you get resistance, then I'm like, okay, anyone can handle that. Like that's not that bad. but they look intimidating. But yeah, wow, this was like mind blown here. And I'm not alone in this. I'm sure our listeners slash viewers are gonna feel the same way.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to get on here. Obviously, that homeschool mom in me, I just want to, share. And, I have trouble.
Educate.
I get out of my room at the end of my session because I'm teaching my clients how they're going to do it at home for their homework, because homework's important. So, that's my passion. I want to teach people how to make them feel better. Yeah, I want you to feel better.
Yeah. And this is, wellness is a multi-pronged solution. It's not just chiropractic. It's not just nutrition. It's things like this, where you get your body to its optimal level of functionality, doing things like this, addressing the fascia. I feel like you are going to be teaching so many people about their fascia with this episode, and they're going to learn all kinds of things that they had no idea about. And obviously educating them with all the tools that are available. And I just think this is such an information packed episode. I can't wait to get it out there because this was wonderful, really, really. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy. I really appreciate the time you've given me to do this.
Thank you. No, this was wonderful. This was awesome. So thank you again. And thank you, Dr. Jen. Thank you everybody for listening. If you haven't joined our school community before, we'll put the link in the show notes. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, everybody. Bye-bye. That wraps up another episode of Speaking Holistically. Thank you for listening. We hope today's conversation gave you new insights and inspiration to take charge of your health. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, be sure and join the Speaking Holistically school community by clicking the link in the show notes. There, you'll get access to daily podcast episodes, weekly live Q&As, educational content, and so much more. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, be well, stay curious, and keep speaking holistically.